Alright guys, welcome to the video. So in this video I am going to break down this business here that I found. So I was having a look on BizBuySell and I just came across the ATM business. I just want to get your opinion. I want to see if you would buy this business. Now its asking price is 1.9 million, 286 units, and it's completely passive income. Yeah, so it's passive income. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to lift a finger. Call it 600 grand net profit they're talking, before interest, tax, depreciation, amortization. So talk to me, right? Would you be interested in this? It's only got 2 full-time staff, 286 ATMs in San Francisco. The owners have had it for 15 years. Growth opportunities include new placements at existing merchant sites. Right, okay. Loader cost negotiation. This is interesting. Leveraging the portfolio scale and volume from ongoing cashless ATM regulatory enforcement. The reason for selling is retirement. So a regular civilian would read this and say, that's such a good idea, that's such an easy business. You don't need to do anything. The staff, 2 staff members or 1 staff member handles the whole business. I personally would rather put the money in a 10-year treasury than ever even touch this. And I did throw it into Gemini. I gave it the link and it says, look, you're getting your money back in 3 years. The buying this business outright in cash would yield an unlevered return of 30% in a purely static environment. The business would pay for itself in just over 3 years. Wow. Or you could put in 20%, getting a staggering 93% cash on return in your first year. What could possibly go wrong? See, it all looks great. This is how most people look at an investment. They throw it in to AI, they have a little look at the ad and say, wow, I'm getting a 30% yield. Whenever you're getting a 30% yield, in my opinion, there's a catch. There's a body getting buried in the balance sheet. Yeah, I don't trust it. Never ever trust it. I don't trust high dividends. I don't trust high dividend stocks, and I don't trust anything that tells you can get your money back in 3 years. So I ran a spreadsheet, and it's not looking good. It's not looking good. In fact, the staff member would make more money than the business owner, in my projections. Maybe not in the first year, but definitely by year 3. Because nobody's using cash. In fact, it's declining by like more than 7% a year. So the way I looked at it, as I said, right, if they're getting 600k, their probably revenue is about 3 million. What I found so interesting on the ad as well is it's talking about negotiating price with the armoured truck guys, the guys that come and load the ATMs, negotiating the price. I'm guessing they take 50%, a straight 50%, because this business has absolutely zero pricing power against the guys that come and load the machines. See, the business that actually loads the machines, they can take whatever they want. How else would we do it? We've got 286 ATMs. Are we going to drive around in an armoured truck and try and load these ATMs? We can't. So they can just say, yeah, we're taking 50%. What are you going to do about it? and we couldn't do anything. We would just have to pay it. Then I took 30% off for the actual landlord cut, because the actual gas stations or wherever the ATMs put, they have total control again of the pricing power, because they can just say, well, I can see how much you're making and I want 30% cut. You just have to absorb it. Because I was reading earlier that a lot of people in San Francisco do not even want ATMs. They don't even want it. They're just like, this is just taking up space and it's a security hazard because someone might want to break in and steal it. And you're competing against Apple Pay, Venmo, Cash App, all these ways that people use to pay for things. The only people that are really using cash is like old school, really, really old school people. And if you charge too much in the ATM, they just go across the street and use a free one. So you have absolutely no pricing power. So a net income 600k, and you think, wow, that's still okay, but it's not. It's terrible. I've put down, if you were to service the debt, you're looking at 230k minimum. That's just an estimation. It could be more than that. I mean, then you're looking at about 86k on tax, and a manager 100 grand a year, which is conservative for San Francisco. The other thing people never consider, capital expenditure, 4G upgrades and wear and tear. Really, all it is just a metal box that depreciates. It just gets rusty. It needs updated. It needs looked after. It's just thermodynamics destroy it. So I've actually worked out in the first year, the employee makes more money than the owner. And this, by the way, this is more common than you would think. I remember when I ran a business, the staff member was making more than me. And this is the thing that people don't talk about. Yeah? People don't talk about this. But you're looking at, 40k of actual free cash flow. See, I don't care about net income. I care about free cash flow. That's what actually matters. And then it just dies a death, year 1, year 2, year 3. By year 5, the revenue's down at 2 million. And you've got debt servicing, and you're in the negative. So basically you're having to take the employee's job by probably year 1, year 2 or 3. Okay, you get an extra 100k, so you're getting 140k now. And what usually business owners tend to do is they don't keep money aside for capital expenditure. They just and then it all comes at the one time, so everything needs fixed. So what I also notice when I look at a lot of business owners, they have a lot of high velocity. So they have high velocity, and they forget about keeping money aside for CapEx. And they're driving a Porsche, they're driving a Lambo, and all they're really doing is borrowing against the future depreciation of whatever the assets are. Well, really it's a liability. Well, this is an asset and a liability, but whatever, you get what I mean. So I'm like, okay, fine. If we didn't use debt, it looks okay. Okay, because you're getting 230 plus the 40. Obviously, you keep the staff member, but it maybe survives a little bit longer. But you still have a business with no pricing power, absolutely no moat. You're just like a lender for the actual people that own the shop and the companies, the armored trucks. Both sellers maintained full-time corporate employment throughout the 15 years of ownership. So if it's printing so much money, why are you still working full-time? They're working full-time with a business that supposedly makes 600k a year. in net income. Yes, it doesn't reflect business performance. There's the other biggest lie ever sold. Cash usage projected to rise. Cashless transactions up to 94%. People, I think from memory, the actual local government had to force businesses to accept cash because people just didn't want to do it. I'm so sure of it. I'm going to check this. Did the government force businesses to accept cash? There's no statewide law. Well, the Federal Reserve recognises cash as legal tender. It doesn't require the private business to accept it. Yeah, the first major US city to ban cashless stores. So the stores didn't even want to they didn't want cash. So the government had to actually step in and say, look, you have to accept it. But it just shows that like the business don't even want an ATM. And the younger generation, I don't think they're going to be using cash. But the point is, cash, people don't want to use cash. Why would you, 1.9 million, you may as well throw that money straight down the drain, in my opinion. Yes, it makes a little bit of money if you didn't use debt, but you're still buying a dying business because cash is dying. That's my opinion. Or you could get risk-free, sit on the beach, do nothing, and you're getting 4.3%. So many people never compare a business to the risk-free rate, which is what you're supposed to do. And this is how so many people get trapped. Even when usually a business gives you 30% yield, it's like the law of gravity. It's like the law of capitalism trying to give you your money back before the business dies. I'm always suspicious of a high yield. Even when it comes to stocks, like I don't even want a stock that's got a high dividend, because the old rule is never ask a genius for a dividend. A good example would be Berkshire Hathaway. He doesn't pay a dividend, but it's because Warren Buffett was classed as a genius investor. So you never ask a genius for a dividend. Plus, dividend means tax. So I would rather buybacks any day. Find a small dividend like Microsoft's, like what, 1%, 0.86. I'll take that any day, as long as the company's doing buybacks. Buybacks are better because they're tax free. We don't pay tax on them. So keep your dividends, and I'm not chasing any dividend stocks because it's just it tells me that the owner of the business, it's like, why are you giving us the money? Have you not got something better you can do with it? That's what I'm saying. Oh, and it definitely does not beat our benchmark. This is the benchmark. Okay, this is your inflation. This is inflation. So if the free cash flow isn't growing faster than inflation every year, then you're actually just losing money. We're just losing. Yeah, this is it, man. This is your inflation, M2. So I'm going to do more videos on the sort of the business world, because it's just things that people don't think about. Really, all businesses, as far as business owners, in my opinion, it should be a case of extracting as much money from the business as physically possible to put into an actual company that's a true monopoly. Because 99.9% of small, medium business owners are not like a monopoly. They're not like an apex predator. So they take the money out and shovel it into the best businesses in the world. Problem is, entrepreneurs believe in reinvesting in themselves. And as noble as it is, it's hard for them to admit their business does not have the same moats and pricing power as the biggest companies do in the world. You know, business should just be about extracting the cash and investing it. But business owners don't tend to do that. They want to reinvest, and worst of all, they want to reduce the tax bill. So they buy a bunch of junk. They buy a Lambo with the money, and they just basically, what's the saying? Rip off your nose to spite your face. Is that, what's that saying again? It's the same idea. You want to shoot yourself in the foot to spite the taxman, to spite the IRS or HMRC, but in actual fact it just traps you in a business for longer. So I'm going to do more of these, and I'll also do them for stocks as well. Like, I like to review a company's financials, you know, like to do that as well. And yeah,